90 years this year as the Royal Canadian Legion, and it's been some rough times in the last few years, not only branch number 11, but right across the country. But we shall persevere, we shall prevail, we shall move forward, we shall win this. And so on that, I'd like you to stand, if you would please. For those that are able, if you're not able, please remain seated. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, the Royal Canadian Legion.
Thank you, Comrade.
Good evening, honored veterans, those who are currently serving, our MLA, Minister Cameron Friesen, Your Worship, Mayor Ken Weed, ladies and gentlemen, family members. It really is an honor to be here today, to be able to be at the annual Morton Legion Veterans Dinner, and to be able to have heard, Pat, your presentation, the story of your Uncle David. I think we're all still just thinking about that story, thinking about the life and the lives that have been affected for many years from that experience. The good, the loss, but the gain. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so honored to be able to be here. And I look around the room, I look at so many of you with medals, those of you who have served and sacrificed so much. It truly is an honor to be around so many great Canadians who have sacrificed to protect our Canadian way of life and to stand up for our values of freedom, justice, and the rule of law. From Vimy Ridge and the shores of Juno Beach to the desert sands in Kabul and the skies over Fallujah and Mosul, our Canadian Armed Forces have always been willing to stand up for our freedom no matter the cost. We must always remember the important work and great sacrifice of our men and women in uniform. It's particularly important, and Pat, why your story is so important, to remember and to teach the next generation about our proud military history. And I think that we know that so many of our valued and precious Second World War veterans are aging, and we don't have as many of them here. And so that's why sharing these stories and teaching the next generation is so vitally important. I think of something that Sir Winston Churchill, who was obviously a very well-known Prime Minister during military years, said. He said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." And I think that that's something that is true then, and it is true now.
Ken Weed, trustee, President Long Frost, comrades of the Canadian Legion Branch 11, friends and comrades, veterans. It's good to be here. Greetings on behalf of your Premier Brian Pallister, the Government of Manitoba. That was a compelling story that you shared with us this evening, Pat. Thank you for that. As Candace said, we're just still thinking about all that you shared and tremendous emotions you must have felt as a family to have been there and to be so warmly received by your hosts. So thank you for that. I want to share with you tonight just one quick vignette. We often talk about those men, those boys who went to serve, and we all understand in this room that there were sacrifices made by those who stayed home. I want to tell you about one such sacrifice. Very few Manitobans are familiar with the name Mrs. Charlotte Wood of Winnipeg. However, the name of Charlotte Wood is forever written into the memory of this nation. In the Great War, World War I, Mrs. Charlotte Wood had 7 sons who served in that war, and tragically 2 did not return. One son, Private Frederick Francis Wood, died in battle in Belgium in 1914. The other son, Private Peter Percy Wood, who was only 17 years old, died in 1917 at Vimy Ridge. 4 of the remaining 5 sons suffered permanent wartime injuries. 80 years ago, in 1936, Charlotte Wood became Canada's first National Silver Cross Mother when she placed a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier at Westminster Abbey in London on behalf of all Canadian mothers who had lost a child in military service to their country. While on a pilgrimage to attend the unveiling of the Vimy Ridge Memorial in July 1936, Mrs. Wood was presented to King Edward VIII. It's reported that she said to the king, "I have just been looking at the trenches and can't figure out why our boys had to go through that. And the king supposedly replied that, "Please God, Mrs. Wood, it shall never happen again." And sadly, of course, it did. Canada's famous and first Silver Cross mother died 3 years later in 1939, just weeks after the start of what was to become known as World War II. Charlotte Wood was buried in an unmarked grave in Winnipeg's Brookside Cemetery. Unbelievably, it was more than 6 decades later before a gravestone was put up to mark her final resting place. And so now the minister responsible for the status of women, in honor of Women's History Month, and in honor of all the remarkably brave women who have received the medal, which is a medal no parent ever wants to receive, our minister, Minister Rochelle Squires, this week informed all members of the Manitoba Legislature that along with the Manitoba Special Envoy for Military Affairs, he would be installing a plaque in Memorial Park across the legislature to honor Mrs. Charlotte Wood. The plaque will be installed in 2017 as Manitoba commemorates the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge. So as we close in on Remembrance Day and the service that we will have tomorrow, I take this opportunity to remind you all that not all the victims of war died on that battlefield, as you well know. Charlotte Wood is one such individual, and I'm proud to have this opportunity to tell you her story of courage and sacrifice during what is now Women's History.
Comrades all, ladies and gentlemen, Pat, I can quite relate to your memorabilia. Linda's dad was a veteran in World War II, as was my father. We have taken their photos and some of their military stuff that we managed to save and had it appropriately framed and had it hanging in our rec room as a reminder to family and friends and other folks that come over that we are a family with military legacy, and we have 2 members of our family that were part of World War II. We also have on our wall pictures of Linda in uniform, our daughter, who was also in service in the Navy, myself. So it's a bit of an I love me wall, and look how great we are. But that's what you do. That's how you keep it alive. Because if you don't keep it alive, it's all for naught. Because it's through the memory that we try to keep it from happening again. Because, that's to forget. If you forget, you're doomed to repeat it. So, to those that served, to those that serve, and those that will serve, I think we have a great debt of gratitude owing. So on behalf of the Council of the City of Morden and the residents of the City of Morden, to those that have served and are serving, thank you so much. It's a great sacrifice, and we truly